Okay, class, I hope you're awake. I hope you brought your calculators and your thinking caps because today we're going to open up our textbooks to Daniel chapter 9, verse 24 through 27. And you in the back, I'm going to need you to stay awake. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's start from the top. Daniel chapter 9, verse number 24. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make atonement for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. Okay, so here we have 70 weeks. How many days are summed up in 1 week? 7. 7 days make up 1 week. How many weeks do we have according to this passage? 70. 70 weeks, or 70 sevens. Class, what is 70 times 7? 490. 70 times 7 equals 490. Now, what exactly is a 7? In English, when we hear the term weeks, we understand it to mean days. 7 days equals 1 week. But in Hebrew, the word weeks is summed up as a group of 7. Rather than defining it as days, it may be defined as years. And for this purpose, we will define this word weeks as years. So when we hear 70 weeks, we're saying 70 sevens. 1 week is equal to a group of 7 years. So 70 times 7 equals 490 years. Daniel 9:25 and 26 say, "So you are to know and discern that from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be built again with plaza and moat, even in times of distress. Then, after the 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and have nothing, and the people of the prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and its end will come with the flood. Even to the end there will be war, desolations are determined." 7 sevens and 62 sevens. 7 plus 62 equals 69. 69 sevens. Class, what is 69 times 7? 483 years. Now, if the prophecy is of 70 sevens, and the time that is fulfilled in what we just read is 69 sevens, how many sevens do we have remaining? 70 minus 69 equals 1. There is 1 7 remaining. Let's look back. 490 years minus 483 years equals 7. Are you with me so far? Let's continue. Daniel 9:27 says, "And he will make a firm covenant with the many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week he will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering, and on the wing of abominations will come one who makes desolate, even until a complete destruction, one that is decreed, is poured out on the one who makes desolate. And he will make a firm covenant with the many for how long? 1 week. So, he will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week he will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering. In the middle of the week. What is the midpoint of 7? Or should I say, what is half of 7? Class, I need you to stay up for this. I need you to stay up. 7 divided by 2 equals 3.5 or 3.5. Okay, class, I'm going to need you to marinate on this for a day, and it would be good for you to study this because tomorrow we will be getting deeper into this study. And if you're struggling with what we've discussed so far, you're going to struggle understanding what we will be going through tomorrow. So, let's make sure we have all of that understood before going forward. Be strong, be smart, be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Good morning. If you take out your textbooks, we will be picking up where we left off, going to Genesis chapter number 7. And we will be discussing how this text alludes to 30-day months. That is to say 12 months, 30 days in each month. Genesis chapter 7, verse number 24 says, "The water prevailed upon the earth 150 days." How many days? 150. Now, if you go back and look to Genesis chapter 7, verse number 11. "In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month of the 17th day of the month, on the same day all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky were opened." I want us to highlight the second month, the 17th day of the month. Let's jump over to chapter 8, verse number 4. "In the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat." And again, may we highlight the 7th month, the 17th day of the month. Notice we have the same day of the month, the 17th. How much time has passed from chapter 7, verse 11 to chapter 8, verse number 4? Notice we have the same day of the month, the 17th. The second month of the 17th day of the month, and the 7th month of the 17th day of the month. How much time has passed from chapter 7, verse 11 to chapter 8, verse number 4? So first, we have the second month, and we have the 7th month, the 17th day of both months. What is 7 minus 2? 5. 5 months was the time span between chapter 7, verse 11 and chapter 8, verse number 4. Now, if 30-day months are accurate, let's multiply 5 months by 30 days. The answer? 150. How many days is found in Genesis chapter 7, verse number 24? 150 days. Class, are you with me so far? Let's stay awake. Let's jump to Revelation chapter 11. I'm ready to go. Let's pick it up. Revelation chapter 11, verse number 2. "Leave out the court which is outside the temple, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the nations, and they will tread underfoot the holy city for 42 months. They will tread underfoot the holy city. For how long? 42 months. The next verse, Revelation chapter 11, verse number 3 says, "And I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1260 days, clothed in sackcloth." These two witnesses, they will prophesy for how long? 1260 days. So we have 1260 days. What is that divided by 42 months? 30. 30 days. 1260 days divided by 42 months is equal to 30 days per month. From Genesis to Revelation, we have a span of 30-day months. I have a question. What is 42 months divided by 12 in 1 year? 3.5. Question. If there are 12 months in 1 year and 30 days in 1 month, how many total days do we have in 1 year? 12 times 30 equals 360. 360 days in 1 year. Now let's divide the 1260 days by 360 days in 1 year. 1260 divided by 360 equals 3.5. 3.5 years. Now, to refresh your memory, there is 1 week remaining in Daniel's prophecy, and this week is significant because this week is divided in half. It is in the middle of the week that the Antichrist will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering. Again, what is half of 7? 7 divided by 2 equals 3.5. Now we see 3.5 highlighted in Revelation chapter 11. But 3.5 here is called 1260 days or 42 months, concluding that this final 7 discussed in Daniel 9:27 will take place in the midst of Revelation chapter 6 through 18, with Revelation chapter 11 highlighting the midpoint of this final week that Daniel prophesied about. Now, Daniel 9:27 states, "He will make a firm covenant with the many for 1 week." For 1 week this covenant will be in effect. So there is a starting point for this final week. And when is that starting point? When does the week begin to take place? At the making of a firm covenant, an agreement of some kind, or contract. We have yet to see such a covenant so far. By this we conclude that the event is yet future. Very much like what we have seen in Daniel chapter 9, verse number 27, we are given a starting point for the 70-week prophecy in Daniel 9, verse 25. And when is that starting point? The starting point is from the issuing of a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. And from that decree, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. 7 plus 62 equals 69. There will be 69 weeks from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. And at the end of the 69 weeks, what will happen? The arrival of Messiah the Prince after 69 weeks. Now, Daniel's book was written between 536 BC and 530 BC. Remember, the years in BC era go backward. The decree to rebuild Jerusalem was granted almost 100 years later in 445 BC, and that decree is found in Nehemiah chapter number 2. So again, how many days are counted in 1 year throughout this text? 30 days times 12 months equals 360 days. Now, 360 times 483 years equals 173,880 days. So let's recap Daniel 9:25, which says, "Know and discern that from the issuing of a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there will be 173,880 days." What happened 173,880 days after the decree to rebuild Jerusalem? That day just so happens to land on Palm Sunday. In Luke 19:41 and 42, it says, "When he approached Jerusalem, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, If you had known in this day, even you, the things which make for peace, but now they have been hidden from your eyes." We do not know when Jesus will return a second time, but Israel, had they had the knowledge and discernment to understand Daniel's prophecy, they would have been able to know exactly when their Messiah would come. Okay, guys, that's the end of our course study. You have the materials necessary to ace the test this week, and so I hope you were able to follow along. These textbooks are actually Bibles, aren't they? Wow, impressive.